guys, welcome back to Bullish on Jiu Jitsu with Professor Bruce and Professor Big Joe. Professor Big Joe, how you been doing this past week?
Pretty good. We went to Vegas last week and watched some Jiu Jitsu, and it was good. But went back to training.
Nice. How did you? So you were in Vegas. What show did you catch?
The CJI2, which was good. It was entertaining, and lots of Jiu Jitsu, lots of little controversy. If anyone is probably listening to this, they probably know. But about the scoring and the judging and the rules. But I thought it was fair. And I at the end, what boiled down to the two top teams, went head to head, and then the team, Craig Jones's team, was declared the winner. Whereas people thought New Wave, which is Gordon Ryan's team, John Danaher's team, thought that they actually won because of the rule set. But then there were supposedly there were some meetings, and that was when went all over, and well, it is what it is. So I think it could have been run a little bit. There were some cheesy moments. I don't know. Did you watch any of it?
I did.
Yeah.
I watched. It was hard to stay up that late.
Yeah. Even though it was like 11 o'clock there, I'm like, it's 1 a.m. over there in Chicago, and it's like but it was there was some cheesy stuff they could have just got rid of altogether. But
yeah, I mean, I heard that the cheesy stuff, like, they do it for marketing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, there's some jokes, some language that's a little tough, and this could be just from our younger fans out there, like, Professor Bruce is just old and he's talking that way. But I look, devoting the past 2 decades of my life to teaching jiu-jitsu. I look at it from a perspective of how can the sport grow, and I know something like CJI, the fact there's so many families involved in jiu-jitsu, like, I know at my house, like, my boys were hanging out in the living room as we were watching, and they were watching it with me. I think
cool.
My Enzo actually fell asleep on my chest as we were watching the CGI
midnight.
Well, no, I think it was to be honest with you, I had to catch the next day. Coach Eric and we actually watched the finals here, because during one of the goofy stuff intermission, I said, "My God, it's on YouTube. It's gonna be on here tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get my rest."
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we did that. No, I mean, it was good.
They had 1 million people streaming it at one point.
Yeah,
just great for jiu-jitsu.
I think it's good, but I think because of that, let's keep it.
Yeah, like any professional sport, right?
Yeah, let's stay on track.
Right. It's more. It was even worse than like pro wrestling, because it was like, in terms of just like wrestling, it's like just entertainment. I think they want jiu-jitsu to be like, everyone wants it to be like a support and not the weird side shows type thing.
Yeah, and it's tough, man, because it's like they're trying to find a way to make jiu-jitsu fun for the fans to watch.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, the athletes are going to do whatever it takes to win. So it's a hard position to be in.
Yeah.
Even if there is 50,000 on the line. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm willing to go a little bit more for it. Like, you saw some of the guys go on day one, really kind of go for the kill. But why weren't they competing like that on day one? And that's because it's like, these guys are professionals. They've been in the sport for a long time, and they know that one misstep could end the night for them, right?
Yeah.
Not only do you not want to break your body down too much on night one, but at the same time, you also don't want to run the risk of injury or getting caught trying to go for the kill.
Yeah, that could spoil the whole team. Your whole team could go down because you did a wrong move or got caught or something like that. There were some, like those taps in the first day that were kind of so and so. But I both of them, I thought they both tapped.
Yeah. I think if I like the fact that they tried. They really went out of the box doing the quintet.
Mm-hmm.
In the what do they call it? The dome, the bowl.
Yeah.
The bowl setup where people can't run out of bounds. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in jiu-jitsu is people running out of bounds to avoid sweeps.
It looks like the best format for the best structure for.
But I really I think going back to just having tournament style matches where you have to beat 4 guys to win the $1 million.
Yeah.
I think it's the best setup. I mean, that CGI one was exciting because guys were going for the finish.
Yeah.
You know, because if you didn't, it's like bye bye.
If I were to guess, they'd go back to that first time setup. This was interesting seeing, the heavyweight versus the 66 kilogram guy, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it makes sense to just go back to more like of a matchup to matchup. Yeah, maybe like an 8-man tournament or something like that. I don't know. 8-man different weights.
I think with a couple weights and just be more consistent.
Maybe 4 weights, 8-man tournaments.
I mean, that's awesome. Like if you do, if they do that and maybe have, like the UFC have a couple smaller shows throughout the year. I mean, if you're paying athletes $10,000 a show and you have some exciting athletes that are going to push the pace, have the ability to win, I mean, like it's the same thing with the UFC BJJ. Like, you're getting paid to compete in jiu-jitsu, so I don't have to get punched. I don't have to get kicked. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys are making better money than MMA fighters.
Yeah, low-level MMA fighters, yeah.
And you're having the ability to do it multiple times a year. I mean, you're making salary. And if you know how to market yourself, I mean, that's in any career field that you take on, like, you have your initial paycheck, right? But you have the ability now to expand into merchandise, be hired by, other academies to, host shows for them. I mean, there's so many things you can do if you're a smart fighter. I mean, I know controversial, one of the females that wasn't part of the show came out and said, hey, why aren't the girls making the same amount of money, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, dude, there was a girl there that left, an 18-year-old girl that won the female tournament and went home with $100,000.
Right.
Like, what other sport is paying male or female
for one day?
For
one tournament.
For one weekend, $100,000 for something that people would do for free. And now I think it's the athlete's responsibility to leverage that and be able to scale, because that's in anything that you want to do business wise. Right. So I think it's great. I think that the 10,001 to show up and compete is outstanding for our sport. I think the prize money that's on the table is outstanding for our sport. And at the end of the day, the promoter is asking you for one thing: make it exciting. Go for a submission. Seems easy.
Yeah, I think that if they should incentivize the submissions, I think it has. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully. And I think it's good. I think if the right eyes are getting onto this, like, you're gonna see more people train for these style tournaments. Because I want to say that's the one thing, the biggest advantage that the B team had going into this is they're essentially the hometown team, right? They have home field advantage because the promoter is literally, their teammate, head coach, whatever you want to call him. He's the one that made the rules, so of course, like, these guys had the first dibs at it, and that does. Right. I mean, at that level, that does make it makes a huge difference, because you have more time than the other invited teams to prepare for it. And you could say, oh yeah, but you knew what CJI was last year. Yes, but they not only have they been preparing since the year prior to this, but they knew the quintet setup way before any of the other opponents' teams knew about it.
I think if New Wave was full strength with their heavyweight, he was out, so they got Wagner Rocha.
Yeah,
he's good. Obviously, he's world class, right? But I think if they had their heavyweight and everyone moved down a weight, it would have been even
better.
Better for them. So
yeah, I think definitely watching it. I mean, you can tell there was some growing pains in the production, in the matches. For these fighters, it's the first time for a lot of these guys. It's the first time in that quintet setup, in that style bowl. So, there's gonna be some butterflies. There's going to be some shyness, some tentativeness, which you definitely saw on night one, in my opinion. But I think if they can put a good a good PR person behind it.
Instead of a troll.
Yeah, they put
Yeah.
up a good PR person behind it, and they learn from their mistakes, and the level of athlete increases. I think it can be really good because I think parents would then give jiu-jitsu a chance as something that, hey, I can have my son or daughter commit to, and they could possibly make something from it, right? So, I think sky's the limit for jiu-jitsu right now.
Yep.
Anybody that I talk to in traditional martial arts, they're like, hey, we got to give it to you jiu-jitsu guys. Like,
You didn't think it was going to work.
you
with
might
these?
not have the structure that we do, but you
Right.
definitely, people are definitely searching for it.
Mhm.
And, jiu-jitsu is definitely set to make some big moves this year. So I think this was, regardless of how you look at it, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Mhm.
And we'll see what I think you think they're going to do a CJI for next year?
I think so. I think they already sort of mentioned it.
Oh,
So-
good. CJI3, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if Craig Jones, he's got to take like 6 months off and just chill. It sounds like he's just burned out, doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, when they announced the $2 million grand prizes or awarding $1 million to each team, plus on top of that, the sporadic $50,000 submission
Yeah.
bonus. I'm like, where's all this money coming from? Like,
Right.
that was from a business perspective, I feel like that was a red flag. Like,
Mhm.
do they actually have those funds
Right.
to pay up? And if they do, is that going to put them in extreme debt that we're not going to get?
It's almost like
CGI3?
yeah, it's almost like the drama between Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan is just it kind of fuels this, but I don't know, that can't carry on forever.
It
right?
fuels it, but at the same time, like, I know plenty of people who even today
Yeah,
are like, all right, dude, we're over this. The trolling, just stop. Let's move on.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. Maybe just because the people that I talk to are people that are around jiu-jitsu for the
Mhm.
most part daily, so it's like I can see how they can be fed up.
Right.
But maybe a white belt that went on social media, saw a little bit of the feud, say, yeah, jiu-jitsu, maybe they're okay with it, right? I
Mhm.
mean, there's a big crowd of people on Reddit that love that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
don't frequent Reddit, so
I do.
yeah.
But
I don't know. Maybe that group loves it, and Reddit's a big community.
mhm.
So, I guess we wanted to move on next. A couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago now, we talked a lot. Well, not a lot, but we put a whole section on white belt beginner mistakes, and I think a lot of our audience was able to kind of get some chuckles from it, relate to it, just because it's part of the process, guys. It's going to happen to all of us. So we had a couple points that we wanted to chat about today, and today's focus is going to be what's some advice for white belts within the first 6 months of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All right, 6 months, in my opinion, is the most important 6 months of your Jiu-Jitsu career. And Joe, what is your opinion on focusing on surviving and not necessarily winning?
That's huge for a white belt. I always tell people when you give me a lot of guys who like first week, first day sometimes, and I always tell them, you're just trying to like learn the positions. You're just trying to survive, learn defense. You're just gonna learn defense for the first maybe 6 months, 3 months, before you even start thinking about, attacking. Personally, that's in my opinion, because you don't know yet when you're in bad positions. You don't know. If someone's choking you, you don't know how long you could hold it. You don't know and basically you start falling for traps, etc., which are being set up by higher levels. So it's all about learning. And there's no way you could just look at videos, or you got to feel it, you got to experience it.
Yeah, and I think one thing like that being advice for somebody who's within that 6 month time frame in jiu-jitsu. If you fast forward, 20 years now, training, even rolling tonight, like, I shared with some of the guys that I rolled with. I said, hey, the goal, if you notice the way that I roll, the pace is a little bit different, because the goal is not necessarily to get a submission and win. My goal is to make my opponent or my partner uncomfortable to the point where he just wants to, I'm out, I'm done after this, right? Because in a real setting where things are going to count in a competition, that's where the opportunities are going to come. If you put somebody in a position where your jiu-jitsu is just so full of pressure, the pace is consistent, it's good, that guy's going to feel like there's no way out. Essentially tap or give you opportunities to get multiple submissions. And it's like investing in yourself early, right? You're investing a little bit more up front in the jiu-jitsu game to then, as the round progresses, have any opportunity that you may desire to be able to finalize the fight, right? And that's something that I like to preach about and repeat several times, because it's something that I know I had to hear at least 7 times for it to actually make sense, right? So is there anything you wanted to add on to that?
No, that makes total sense.
My next point here, I would say, I have something I share. It's not about knowing 500 techniques. It's about knowing a handful of techniques and knowing when to apply them.
Right.
So the way that our brains work, and we can even break this down into smaller layers, but picking 1 or 2 positions or 1 or 2 moves per position and focusing on that. I call it the A and B, right? On a sweep, there's an A option, there's a B option. In a submission setup, there's an A option, there's a B option. And in that scenario, I feel like it's the best way to start building an understanding of the position.
Yeah.
Later on, we'll touch upon this more, but when it comes to asking a good question, I would say, well, if my partner stops sweep A, how can I discover sweep B? Sometimes ask your instructor, right? Ask your instructor, because it could be very similar to sweep A. You just need 1 or 2 adjustments. Have you?
Yeah, I find when I watch anything or do any positioning, the positions where you kind of like branch, this is blocked, you go here, and then it's just a branch until you reach either reversal or a submission, that kind of thing. So if you look at a lot of just like, there's flow charts. It's like a flow chart, business flow chart.
Yeah.
You do step 1. If step 2 is blocked, go to step 3. Blah blah blah. It's like and just learning those steps is obviously
it's essential for sure.
Yeah, the process.
And Joe, you touched upon this earlier. He's like, prioritize defense first. And I watching you train, I think this is something that you do an excellent job of. I can see you to this day. I don't know if it's intentional or not. I think it is. I do see you, and guys will say this. They're like, Professor Joe is one of the toughest guys to submit on the mat. And he won't tell you, but he does take a lot of pride in not giving up chokes easily. But that does take time. I mean, being just that comfort of, hey, this guy's mounted on me. Not a big deal. I've been in the mount before. I can escape. Hey, this guy's on my back. No big deal. I can escape. Guys take it even one step deeper than that. Like, I know guys that, they'll be in a choke, they'll be in an arm bar, and they'll be like, hey, no big deal. Like, I've escaped this before. I can do it again. And that kind of confidence can go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people, it might be true or not, but a choke will last for like 10 seconds, horribly bad. Like, you'll feel like you want to tap, but sometimes, especially on lower belts, if they'll get it hard, but they'll it's hard to really have a choke where you're like effortlessly choking a person. So if you could survive and have some resilience, and you get through that, then it's kind of like your little win, right? But a lot of people learn, obviously, like, you feel it, you're like, oh, tap.
Yeah. But it kind of goes back to, to what we talked about earlier on. It's like, me as a black belt, focus on survival, not winning. Essentially, getting to those positions where I can wear you out, it's something that I would do as a white belt, and I do now. survival or training to survive on the mat. It's something that, like Professor Joe said, something that obviously he did early within his first 6 months of jiu-jitsu, but he does today as a black belt. And I think sometimes that has correlation with, people say, hey, when you get your black belt, you realize that you're really starting over again.
You 100%.
And I think that's just...
I didn't realize that. You should have told me this. But yeah, you realize, man, I want to improve everything now. I want to be able to answer questions. I want to be able to know positions and give advice and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, I would say personally, like, that's one thing I take more pride in is the positional aspect of jiu-jitsu, not giving up position. I take more pride in that. Sorry, I backed off from the mic. I take more pride in that than, hey, can I tap somebody 3 times in a round, right? I think that doesn't really give anybody, doesn't really do much for anybody, because at the end of the day, it's just like this guy's getting tapped by something that maybe he just wasn't good at defending at to begin with. And like, what do you gain from it as a black belt?
I remember there was a blue belt, won't mention any names, when we started jiu-jitsu, and Cole, my son, was about 115 pounds, and he would just Americana Cole relentlessly in one round, in the same round, and just keep on. I was like, I get it, you like good on you, but it's like, don't you want to move on? You know what I'm saying? What are you learning from this? Like, does it help your ego or something? You're getting this kid.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think that's what it could be, unless this guy like wants to be like the best
Americana
guy of all time. I mean,
against a teenager.
Hey, I mean, when I was at one point in my career, like I didn't care what anybody said. Like I was gonna sweep you from the half guard. Like that was my sole purpose to show up to jiu-jitsu that day, was to was just to sweep people.
Yeah.
Of all shapes and sizes, and to kind of prove that, size doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu, and that was my way of doing it. And I took a lot of like, I took a lot of like I felt good about that, right? I don't know if Americaning 14-year-old would be the same, but maybe that's a small win he needed. I mean, hopefully he never got hurt, right?
Every time, multiple times around.
Okay, let's ask you this question: how's Cole's Americana defense today? There we go.
We laugh about it because we know, but he didn't complain about it. He just be like,
oh, the Americana again. Oh,
here
Americana
we go
again. But yeah, that's that kind of brings us to our next point: tap early and tap often, right?
Yeah,
and sometimes, to be honest with you, sometimes I take the whole tapping thing out of people's hands. Hey, arms extended, partner, let go, stop, start over. Oh, but my arms, I didn't tap. Doesn't matter. You don't know your limits yet, right? So you don't know, and that's. That's something that I've gained experience over the past 20 years of teaching, is we took the guesswork out of everything now. We took the guesswork out of everything. The class is set up in a way where it's like, it's the safest it's ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, sometimes it's, there's things that I don't have control over. How's, people's egos, how rough or how easy that person's day was that day, how competitive they are, how they were raised in other sports, that's what they bring to the table here in jiu-jitsu. And it's my job to change those habits, but it's going to take more than a couple of days. So we have to do it in a way where it's appropriate for everyone, right? And I think that kind of goes to why we have the safest program in the area. So,
I agree.
And I say that selfishly, but it's true. Let's see. The next one: drill the basics relentlessly. What is this new clickbait now? We don't drill jiu-jitsu. What is it? What do you? Before we get into drilling the basics relentlessly, what is this no drilling aspect of jiu-jitsu?
I don't know.
What do you think that comes
from? Is it the ecological jiu-jitsu? I don't know.
But it's like watching the training. Like,
drill.
okay, so back to ecological jiu-jitsu, right? Big Joe starts with my arm. I have to escape, or he has to extend my arm. That, in my opinion, that's a drill. That's drilling. That is, if you were in a wrestling room today, we're starting from a single leg. One person is looking to get the single leg or finish from the single leg. The other person is looking to escape. That's drilling. Yeah. Like, what other name would you give it? Right? And I think that's where when it comes to, like, again, it could just be us falling for clickbait, but when it comes to that argument, yeah, there's drilling in jiu-jitsu.
I don't even know that it's It's like
It confuses.
it's like being a singer and say you'll learn how to sing without ever practicing how to sing. That's what we're doing, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like saying you can learn how to sing without having to like exercise your vocals. Exactly, like hitting different.
You're just gonna go out and do it,
without warming up. Right. Stuff like that. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think jiu-jitsu, like however you want to look at it. I mean, even sparring tonight, like I said, my goal was to wear my partner out. That in itself is drilling, right? Getting into the position over and over again on different training partners or different styles, like that was drilling. Because at the end of the day, like here's another very controversial point. People think that they have to have 150 different training partners get quote unquote different looks. But what's the point of different looks if my jiu-jitsu is going to be so efficient? I'm going to put you in the position that I want you to be in regardless. So I don't care if you're a top player, bottom player, leg locker, wrestler. Like if your jiu-jitsu is good, you're going to put that opponent in that position regardless of his style. Right? And I think we get that from, again, drilling the positions that we feel are dominant in jiu-jitsu. Yep,
for sure. So, no way around it. I don't even think I think that's just clickbait for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your opinion on that, Big Joe, before we move on to our next point? Do you think you need unlimited training partners to get better at jiu-jitsu?
No. But it would be great if you could have some, like if you don't, I always tell people, try to go as many classes as you can if you're not going to spar, but because you might go over something like, say, arm bars or anything, Kimuras, for a week or 2 weeks. And if you skip like a week of training, or you might miss that whole week and you might not come back to it because there's so many different techniques.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you might not come back for a year. Yeah. So now you've missed a few days of training Kimuras. You don't really know how to do them effectively, or the tips, the little details that you learn. So if in lieu of that, if you could have a partner, have someone, or a grappling dummy and drill it yourself, I think that would definitely help, because we do drills is what you're teaching us this week, right?
Yeah.
So,
but like I said, like to be able to accomplish those goals, like I will tell you personally from my competition experience, so take it for what it's worth. It's a lot of matches, but everybody that I faced, in my opinion, had a slightly different style because we competed in different rule sets. But all the matches that I felt confident in, I put those opponents in my game. So it didn't matter what their background was, if that guy was a wrestler, if the guy was a leg locker, if that guy was a guard passer. Like at the end of the day, if you watch the videos next to each other, the opponent looked the same because I forced him to play my game, right? So, and that goes back to, like I said, the quote unquote we don't drill. That is the drill. It is the drill. Is to be so confident, so efficient in your game that no matter what this guy's bringing to the table, this guy's gonna end up on his back, mounted with both his arms high above his head.
Nice.
So, let's see. Before we drag too much on this point here. The next one: ask questions.
I think that's fair.
What kind of questions should we ask?
I think that's fair. I think sometimes even when you're demoing positions, people are scared to mention it. It's like, you're in a class, in college or something. You don't want to raise your hand.
Yeah, no, I always ask because like literally there's always 5 other people that have that exact same question. So, right. and I'll take it one step further. And I've had people do this with me several times, and I have no problem taking 30 seconds to a minute to explain it, but ask your partner, hey, Joe, is there something that I could have done better not to get caught in that armbar? Right. I think that's the biggest takeaway, is be coachable, be willing to ask questions, be vulnerable knowing that you don't know everything.
For sure.
That's going to help your jiu-jitsu the most, because if you're making the same mistake and you're going to wait until God knows what to do to figure it out. Like, I remember this happened to me when I was a pro belt. I went to like 3 or 4 tournaments and I got triangled every single time. If it wasn't in the first round, it was the second round.
Dang.
And I'm like, that cost me a lot of money because those were trips that I traveled to.
Oh my God, I can't
And
even imagine.
each trip was $2,000 easy.
Was it 1 and out?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
So I'm like, so that was like a close to $10,000 mistake.
Suicide. I commit to it, but just be like, dang.
But then when you figured out the defense not getting triangled anymore,
right?
I was like, that's all I had to do. So now, like, a very costly mistake for me, guys, is something that you hear me repeat in class almost every single day. Posture, shoulders back, head up. How many times did I say that today? Yeah, and that's on both bottom and top game in jiu-jitsu. So lots of golden nuggets there, guys.
Yeah, especially if you're getting caught in something all the time, like, dang, I'm getting caught. Yeah, like your triangles, but people get caught in stuff and just ask.
And I would say even if like maybe you don't feel comfortable asking your training partner, which I don't see why, but ask somebody that you have confidence in on the mat. Hey, Big Joe, I keep getting caught in triangles. You think you can help me with my triangle defense? I might not be able to because I don't do many of them, but hey, Aaron Barge can help you, right? Because the guy's got,
6 feet legs.
Yeah. So there's always good, resources on the mat, and they might be your next training partner.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Always ask. So this goes back, Joe. If you're gonna notice, a lot of these points are gonna correlate back and forth to each other. Control your pace. What I talked about earlier, you don't need 100,000 training partners.
That's huge.
You just need to know how to control your pace, because at the end of the day, you'll be able to put everybody into your game, right? No matter what your game is, like if you have high conviction in it, you'll be able to position that person in that game. I can tell you, rolling with my instructor, so many times do I try to avoid, his style guard or his style knee slice pass, because I know what he's waiting for. I know he's waiting for me to come up and then bust out right across my guard. But it's a hard position to avoid, right? Almost lost my point there, but
a lot of times when you roll with someone who's a white belt, or they tire themselves out for you. Yeah, I just wait. I'm like, okay, this guy's.
But the reason, look at thinking about it now a little bit. The reason that I'm able somebody can control the pace of the match is because you're falling into their game.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say either speed it up or slow it down. Most, if you've been listening to the past 33 minutes of this podcast, every indicator should tell you to slow it down. Slow your roll.
And if you look at a lot of high level matches, I mean, the highest level you go, it's always like a point or an advantage or one little mistake, technical issue that wins matches. The matches are not like 30-28 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's all about positioning right, scoring at the right time, mounting and passing all at the right time. It's not a sprint to try to score as many points as possible. So your game should, as you get better, you'll be able to play much better defense. So will your partner and that kind of thing. So
our next point is consistency beats intensity, and that could have a lot of different meanings. One, intensity that you don't injure yourself. Like we talked about earlier, control your partner, slow things down, enjoy your time on the mat.
Yep,
will definitely keep you healthier, keep you from burning out mentally too. Because I think sometimes when you're exerting so much adrenaline, so much energy, you burn yourself out mentally before you do physically.
There are a few guys here, 120%, man. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Good for them. Good on them. I mean, maybe it helps them, just release the stress. They're going for it. Good for them.
I mean, you release the stress, but I feel like even tonight, rolling with our guys, I feel like I released the same amount of stress rolling at a consistent pace with everybody. I was still sweating.
Yeah.
I was still sweating. I still felt like I got a good workout. If anything, I got a little, as I yawn, I got a little burst of energy to kind of be able to finish off the night strong. But, each round was consistent. There's nobody that I rolled with less intense or more intense.
That's good.
It was consistent across the board, and that taking it to the next level, do that week in and week out. I mean, that's something I see sometimes with people get this burst of excitement when it comes to jiu-jitsu, so then they're like, they train for 6 months, and then they take 6 months off or a year off. Or sometimes I have to reach out to the guy and be like, hey, man, where you been? You know, your 1 month, 2 month freeze turned into I haven't seen you in a year. You know, and then they come back and yeah, it's gonna take some time to catch up, man.
It will.
Like, I mean, it's that's the one thing we talked about before. Hey, you know, you've been training 2 years in jiu-jitsu, but if you took 6 months off, you in reality only been training a year and a half.
It's cumulative.
Yeah, and guess what, man? My software tells me that now. So
Wow.
And so does your attendance card. Not that I need that, but I can also see it on the mat. So, all right. So the next one here, take care of your body. And I think, like I said, everything kind of mashes together. But yeah, taking care of your body. This will go in 2 ways, right? Longevity on the mat. The little wins, right? Did I escape Big Joe's armbar today without hurting my elbow? Yeah. So did I get off the mat injury free? The more I can do that, the longer I can stay on the mat, right? But there's also the daily chores or weekly chores of trimming your nails, washing your gi daily, hydrating and stretching.
My issue, but go ahead.
Which kind of, that's where you'll see
drinking
that
water. I don't know why I'm just
a lot of the biggest injuries that happen in jiu-jitsu aren't from submissions, aren't from takedowns. It's actually from the lack of stretching.
I did get a little cramp in my foot today, which just kind of sucked the arch, but whatever.
Little cramp in the foot. But I've seen guys hurting their lower back, and it's like, what does that person have in common? I also see them not being the best at stretching. Some people are like, well, why do we do the one we do today? Well, I can, 20 years of experience. Most people here today, including maybe the person asking that question, he's not going to stretch on their own time.
No. It's so simple to do also, but it's just like,
yeah.
Damn it.
But Joe, why do we group wash your gi and taking care of your body?
Viruses and bacteria?
Yeah. If you don't wash your gi,
who doesn't wash their gi? That's disgusting.
Who's going to be the first person to get staph? You or your training
partner? Although there have been a few guys who I questioned a couple times. But
oh, you got to tell them, man. Because look, this is one thing people ask me about. They're like, what would you do in this situation? I'd rather tell you, hey, man, borrow this gi because yours smells, or I can walk you through the process of washing your gi, or why you need to wash your gi. I'd rather offend if it happens, and I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping people have more character than that. I'd rather offend one person, and I hate to say it, but I'd rather lose one membership over offending one person than offending 4 people
who had to roll with this guy,
and possibly losing 4 memberships. Yeah. So
you're right. 1,000,000%. I don't know how people can get away with that, but no.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's one of those, like, as an instructor, like, I've been there before. Like, I'm like, oh man, like, I know I have to have this conversation with this guy, but maybe Bruce from 10 years ago didn't want to have that conversation, so we just kind of like brushed it under the rug, which is not the right thing to do. But now, hey, Big Joe, I notice your gi has a yellow stain on it, and not that it does, but I'm just using it as an example because he's right next to me. Hey man, like you need a clean gi every practice. Well, why? Well, here's where I'll educate you. But we have plenty of loners. Don't ever feel bad. Yeah, same thing with trimming nails and stuff like that, man. Like, believe it or not, another area of infection is getting cut by fingernails, and it happens all the time. I mean, even right now, looking at my hands, I have that from tonight. But hands, I wash them as soon as we get off the mat. But if you get cut on your face, ears, anywhere like that, guys, we have to keep jiu-jitsu safe. Yeah. The only way, for my dads listening out there, the husbands, the way that your wife's going to be, comfortable, confident for you, you to come into jiu-jitsu, we have to stay on top of these rules, and we have to educate the young guys, and that's usually sometimes where it comes from. It's our younger group, right?
They're disgusting.
But here we stay on top of it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I want the people that are listening to us today to know B1 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the safest and cleanest academy that I can train at. For my moms, for my dads, for students listening to us for the first time. Because I want you to be able to go to work the next day. We always talk about how tough Jiu-Jitsu is, how tough Jiu-Jitsu can make us, but this is the things that people are going through people's minds, and I want to share that with everybody.
Right.
You know, but let's get back to the fun stuff. Okay. So I'll leave you with that. Wash your geese, guys. Having fun and being patient. You know, I see guys too often. You know, you see the meme of the guy that's driving home and he's upset because
some teenager got him.
14-year-old Cole got him in the choke again, or you know.
Yeah.
I mean, man, we got some girls here.
That'll get you.
That'll get you. I mean, we had Bella and me here last week. Twice last week. If you didn't know how experienced she is,
oh God,
she probably took you down. She might have strangled you. Right. You know, and it's like, there's no shame in getting strangled by a high-level athlete. Like, it's, you know, it's the name of the game, and
don't have too much pride in this. You know, you're still learning, and
we're all still learning. I mean, even the way that I learn new techniques in jiu-jitsu, or not even new techniques, but the way that I know how to apply them better, is I have to be in the position.
Right.
You know, like, if I get caught in a position, submission, whatever, like, all right, shake hands, we do it again. Like, but that took decades to learn. And don't be like me, guys. Learn that within the first couple months of jiu-jitsu, and it's going to make your learning curve that much more efficient. If you notice, guys, if you want to increase your learning curve in jiu-jitsu, take notes of every bullet point we talked about today, and you will increase your level of jiu-jitsu way quicker than Professor Joe and I did, because we didn't have a podcast that put it out there for us in black and white.
Right.
Review the tape, maybe like put it at negative 2x speed, slow it down, listen to it in slow motion, and take things to heart, and you will. This is what we talked about today. I am confident that the 42 minutes that you've listened to this video will make you a better jiu-jitsu practitioner tomorrow.
If you pay,
and you paid attention to the points,
for sure.
Because this is something, guys, that we talk about on the mat regularly for the past 11 years, just here at our academy, and we're bringing it all to you in one episode. So hopefully you guys.
Lots of knowledge,
guys. Test it on the competition mat, on the practice mat, on the way to the practice mat. You know, take it to heart. But I think I'll leave you guys with this. On a positive note, have fun, and always stay patient. Big Joe, would you like to elaborate on that?
No, yeah. I think also when it comes to just like, you know, promotions or like advancing or stripes or whatever you want to do, I've seen how you operate, how you promote, how you've given belts, and I've always thought, oh, that's perfectly right. He deserves that kind of thing. And I know people get frustrated, are not patient, that kind of stuff, and are stressed about it sometimes. Even like, man, I wish if I only got this blue belt, man. I'd be like, don't worry about that. That's the least you should worry about. Just get better.
Yeah.
And that'll be, you know, your journey. It's not like how fast you could progress. And
yeah, because I think what ends up happening is you look back, and I looked back at my blue belt to purple belt. I was excited. You know, when I got my purple belt, I was caught off guard. I was excited to have the opportunity, but once I got my black belt, and probably even before that, I'm like, I would have been so much better as a black belt today if I would have been a blue belt longer. Because if I was my own coach at that time, I think, not taking anything away from the guy that promoted me at the time, but from every perspective, just like how much looser I would have been on the mat. Not only that, but on the competition mat, where being at the blue belt level would have gotten me more time on the competition mat, because you would think a little bit lower level, more time spent in competition. Because like we talked about, like, even though I did have a pretty good run at purple belt, I got all the way till top 5 in my weight class at adult purple. Yeah, wow. Out of you know, thousands of practitioners at purple belt. I was there for a while, for a good amount of time, but I also did gain a lot of points from, medaling, submitting people in, my purple belt weight class at the time. So it wasn't bad by any means. I think in a way, maybe I made up for it at purple belt for the lack of time that I had at blue belt. But blue belt was really, I know for a lot of our students, blue belt has been an opportunity for them to really enhance their level. And from a mental standpoint, I think they were able to handle the pressure a little bit better molding themselves at blue belt than at purple, and then brown, and obviously then black. But that goes with being patient, guys. That's, staying patient on the mat, just taking it every day, day by day. Just in the bare minimum, enjoy looking forward to seeing your friends on the mat, because that's going to put you on the mat, which then is going to put you in a place where you're going to learn, which then in turn will take care of the rest. You don't even have to think about everything that we talked about here, because just you showing up is going to take care of it.
Right.
Because we're essentially, why do we show up today? Because we're on the road to mastery of jiu-jitsu. Some of us are a little bit closer than others, but, just like the tortoise and the hare, eventually, turtle gets to the finish line. And that's why we do it, right? All right, guys, so we'll leave you with that today. Like I said, hopefully take, one or two key points from this episode today to help improve your jiu-jitsu. And we'd love to hear it. Let us know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. Of course, it is our opinion. We'd love to hear your feedback. And until next time, guys, if anything that we shared with you today helps your jiu-jitsu in any way, shape, or form, share it with a family member, share it with a friend, subscribe. This motivates us to put more content out.
Hit that button down there or wherever.
Wherever Joe's going to put it. This motivates us to put out more content, and definitely, visit our Instagram page at b1bjjfitness.com. Lately, we've been uploading a lot of new content. And for our newer listeners and viewers, or people that are listening to us from other countries, you get an inside peek of what our academy looks like.
Lots of details. Yep.
What are you gonna leave the listeners with today?
Like I always say, just be consistent. Don't kill yourself, and you'll have a good time at jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely, guys. Trim those nails, clean those gis. We'll see you next time.